turmoil of Justin Trudeau's reign of terror. It looks like it's crumbling, folks, like the Titanic sinking and everyone's boarding ship. So, this is from the Niagara Falls Review, stating that Chrystia Freeland, who is now has resigned, greeted with standing ovation before a somber Liberal caucus meeting. The former Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister netted a mixed reaction from her caucus colleagues when she revealed Monday that she was leaving Justin Trudeau's front bench. So, she's going to get applause from people within her constituency that, again, are also programmed to the T of kind of this neoliberal globalist bubble, this agenda that incorporated people like Chrystia Freeland to push things like freezing bank accounts, CBDCs, and just the woke politics, the woke ideologues that Justin Trudeau has become the proud pin king of being part of that. So, someone put this together. I thought it was kind of funny. This is an AI image, but you get kind of the sentiment of who this person is. Chrystia Freeland, the bride of the World Economic Forum. There she is with the money, just grumbling like, "Oh, if I only had more bank accounts to freeze." So, this was kind of obviously got mixed reactions. It's a bittersweet moment for Parliament because they don't know what to do right now. Now that Chrystia Freeland has put her name in resignation, and it looked like from her letter that it wasn't her resigning. It was more that Justin Trudeau was trying to put pressure on her to take the fall for his horrible economic policies, which we're about to see later on, just how awful and tremendous the deficit is getting. You know, they said the balance is the budget was going to balance itself. Well, it hasn't. It's gotten a lot worse. And considering the fact that they put $19.5 billion more into endless warfare to places like Ukraine, and no real investment into healthcare, education, or any infrastructure means here is showing the lack of response, the lack of integrity, and the just complete unawareness of having actual leadership qualities to run this country that is now crumbling under their tyranny. So, here's what happened in the House of Commons after the dilemma of Chrystia Freeland being ousted. Listen to this.
I rise today flabbergasted by the news that has just been made public. The government has finally revealed its true deficit number. And they couldn't find anyone all day. In fact, no one will appear today even to defend this incredible disaster of a budget. The bus.
Now, I just want to remind people the timing of all this, because Chrystia Freeland put in her resignation right at the day, the precise day they were supposed to deliver the economic statement. The exact day. So it really is telling to know that Chrystia Freeland just didn't resign because she felt like it was her time, and more on the fact that Justin Trudeau was trying to pass the blame onto somebody else. They thought Chrystia Freeland would be able to take over. Chrystia Freeland doesn't want to be held responsible. She's going, "It's not my fault. I'm done. I resigned. I'm no longer finance minister. So, it's all on you." And now they're trying to reshuffle cabinet to many different positions.
Flew off the cliff, and now Canadians are at the bottom of the ravine in a big pile of debt. This deficit is 100% at the feet of this irresponsible Prime Minister and his personal economic advisor, Carbon Tax Carney.
That's right.
Now, Carney says he doesn't even want the job of finance minister. He doesn't even want to try and drive the crashed out bus after he helped run it off the cliff.
Yeah.
So what Pierre Poilievre is stating, that Mark Carney, who they thought was going to be an easy replacement to take over finance minister, he's not willing to take the fall for this. Mr. Bank of Canada, Mr. Bank of England, Mr. I want CBDCs for everybody. I want to control everybody's bank account, put it into one operating system, and decide your finances. I don't want to take a fall for that. I don't want to deal with Justin the Maniac Trudeau. I don't want to deal with it. So now they're really in a pickle. Now they're really in a pickle because they thought, oh, this would just be an easy replacement. Get the guy who wants, full control of your finances. Oh, well, he doesn't want it anymore. God, what are we going to do now?
But instead of taking responsibility, the Prime Minister told her that she should take all the blame. The good old boys in the back room would protect themselves and make the Finance Minister, the then Finance Minister, take all the blame. Reminds you of the way they treated the former Attorney General and so many other brave women who have...
And that was Jody Wilson-Raybould. That was Jane Philpott. We just did segment a while back, or actually just recently, about Justin Trudeau claiming himself to be this feminist, caring so much about women and women's rights and how he respects and adores. Look at the people within his cabinet. I'm definitely the feminist. I stand up for feminism here in Canada, even though I harass, I blackmail, I intimidate female members within my party and force them to take the blame, force them to take the dive, accuse them, point the finger at them so I can get away with my heinous actions. And that's why those people had to step down and are no longer serving. We just covered recently the recent woman, I forget the name already, Cesar Chavez, who was a member of Parliament, who was a member of Justin Trudeau's party, and she felt abused. She felt abused because being a black woman, being the first black woman in Justin Trudeau's party, she felt like she was only there because of her skin color. She felt like she was being abused and attacked to just use as a prop for Justin Trudeau's woke ideology. Not for the character that she presents to the table, which is exactly the opposite. The exact opposite of what people like MLK and Malcolm X and Frederick Douglass would talk about, would preach. That people like Justin Trudeau would quote and admire how they stood up and supported for civil rights. And now here you are demonizing your own people within your parliament.
Dared question this self-described feminist prime minister, some feminist indeed, throwing the bus off the cliff and throwing women under the bus. That is his real record. That his real record on finance, Mr. Speaker, is yet another $62 billion deficit. For context, outside of this government, there is no government in the history of Canada that has ever run a $62 billion deficit.
So you heard it there, $62 billion deficit. $62 billion deficit. That's the magic number they were trying to avoid telling you people. Because they were supposed to do this back in, I think, August or September, the fall economic update. But then they held back and they held back and they held back. They were supposed to release it on Monday. And guess what? Surprise, surprise. That was the day that Chrystia Freeland filed her resignation. And that became all the news. Oh my God, the finance minister is resigning. Who's going to take her place? Who's going to be the next step up? Who's going to be the replacement? And we didn't hear anything about it until just recently because they were going to do it anyway. And now because Chrystia Freeland's stepping down, she feels like, oh, I don't have to take responsibility. I don't have to take the fall for Justin Trudeau's antics. I don't have to be the right-hand woman anymore. Whew, I'm free. I'm free to go back to my Nazi brigade family. And I just brought this to attention too. I was looking this up on the phone here while Pierre Poilievre was speaking. So, according to search results, Canada's total market debt is expected to surpass $1.4 trillion by the end of the 2024-25 fiscal year. This debt grows daily by more than $100 million. Daily. And Canada pays for over $1,200 in interest every second. As of March of 2024, Canada's national government debt reached 1.5 billion US dollars compared to 1.4 billion in the previous year. The federal government's deficit for 2024-25 is projected to be $48.3 billion with a total debt to gross domestic product, yada, yada, yada. And right now, as he said there, the cost to finance Canada's debt is forecasted to increase to $64.3 billion. $64.3 billion. That's a far jump and a step away from balancing itself. And could it be the fact that our endless spending on useless wars? Could it be the lack of investment for Canadians? Could it be the fact that endless vacations of Justin Trudeau and the moral speech, the moral high ground that he presents to you and rails over you like this dominant force is not realizing the struggles of everyday Canadians that barely can afford a hot meal to feed their family, that over 2 million a month are now going to food banks? 2 million people a month are going to food banks. This is why Chrystia Freeland decided at that time to step down. Not because she felt like she did her job, not feeling like any of this. It's because she didn't want to take the fall for Justin Trudeau's antics, for the fact that he is failing, absolutely failing. I don't know, at this point, I don't know anyone who even has the remote support for this guy anymore. He's losing so many key battleground cities and so many key battleground demographics that it's over for him. It's over for him. And people are starting to wake up to this. So here's what Donald Trump even said about this. He says, the great state of Canada is stunned at the finance minister resigning or was fired from her position by Governor Justin Trudeau. Her behavior was totally toxic and not at all conducive to making deals which are good for the very unhappy citizens of Canada. She will not be missed. Nasty woman. Nasty. I'm trying to work more impressions into this show. That's the comic aspect to this. But she's not the only one. She is not the only one that is shifting around her cabinet position or resigning or refusing to come back and step for Justin Trudeau. And this is where Justin Trudeau is scrambling right now. He is in panic mode. We're very close to the end of the year. We're in Christmas time. He rolled out this fake GST holiday, rebate that really doesn't help people whatsoever. You save about 8 cents on your groceries, which is barely nothing. And now on top of that, the snowball of his cabinet ministers putting in resignation saying, I'm done with you. I'm jumping ship of this Titanic that you're sinking. I'm not going to be a part of this. So here's Toronto Star put this article together saying a list of Liberal cabinet ministers who have recently quit or don't plan to run again. Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland's abrupt departure from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's cabinet on Monday resulted in a mini cabinet shuffle with Dominic LeBlanc stepping into the role. So now that they don't have Mark Carney anymore, he's jumped ship. He doesn't even want to deal with this. Now they're going to get the public safety minister, the guy who wants to take away hunting rifles and send them off to Ukraine. That's that guy as finance minister. So now they got to figure out who's going to be public safety minister. So this is all snowballing into disaster. And Justin Trudeau is in deep turmoil to gain what little he has left of his own party. So, Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland erupted departure from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's cabinet on Monday, resulted in a mini cabinet shuffle with Dominic LeBlanc stepping into the role. It is the latest in a string of small shuffles Trudeau has been forced to make in recent months to replace ministers who have made clear they won't be seeking re-election. Several others who indicated publicly in October that they won't run again have yet to be replaced. Here's a look at that list, and it's fairly long. It's a fairly long list. So here's Chrystia Freeland to start things off. A loyal stalwart in the Trudeau inner circle, Freeland saw the Liberals through difficult trade negotiations with Donald Trump during his first term in the White House when he ended NAFTA. After helping usher the Canadian-US-Mexico agreement, Freeland was eventually promoted to Deputy Prime Minister and Finance Minister. She has been leading the government's public response to Trump's re-election since the vote happened in November by going on to CBC and telling, just don't panic, don't panic, don't panic, don't have anxiety. Everything's going to be fine. Everything's going to be fine. Don't panic. As she's looking panicked and flushed. In her statement on Monday, Freeland made it clear she and Trudeau had not seen eye to eye on how to deal with the second Trump administration and its threat to impose a 25% tariff on Canadian imports. Freeland and Trudeau disagreed about the decision to temporarily exempt some products from the GST over the holidays. That's what she's stating. But my theory is, given the time of all this, it's the fact that they know that Trudeau's reign is a sinking ship. It's the Titanic, just hit the biggest iceberg and is falling beneath the cracks. There's nothing they can do, so Chrystia Freeland is going to jump ship. She doesn't want to take responsibility for this horrible, horrible government. She doesn't want to be a part of it. Sean Fraser, the housing minister's announcement that he does not plan to run in the next federal election was largely overshadowed by Freeland's bombshell news hours later. But the former immigration minister, who has had who's been a strong communicator, a rising star, and a potential contender in the future race to replace Trudeau, whenever and however that comes to pass. He told reporters on Monday he came to the decision months ago while he was recovering from a back surgery operation and was spending more time with the kids at home. He called it an opportunity to transition to being a father who's more available to his kids. Here's Randy Boissonneau. You remember this guy. The guy who lied about his identity multiple times to get federal contracts and then realized he got caught. The Edmonton MP left his role as employment minister on November 20th following a scandal that grew out of questions over his claims of Indigenous identity and his business dealings. Media investigations into his business dealings revealed that a business he co-founded before the 2021 election had described itself as being wholly Indigenous owned in order to apply for government contracts set aside for Indigenous businesses. Boissonneau was described as Indigenous multiple times in communications from the Liberal Party and has referred to himself as a non-status adopted Cree and said his great-grandmother was a full-blooded Cree woman. He has since clarified that his adopted mother and brother are Métis and apologized for his shifting claims, telling the House of Commons committee he is not Indigenous. For those in America, it's basically an Elizabeth Warren situation. So, this guy, Dan Vandal, on October 17th, the Northern Affairs Minister said he had decided not to run in the next election whenever it is held. Whenever it's held. We don't even know a date at this point. Because that was another Trudeau gimmick. That was him trying to pressure moving the date of the election next year so that people within his cabinet were able to obtain a full pension. And they used the excuse of, well, it's an Indigenous holiday to back that claim, why we had to move the election date. But really, it came to the fact that at a certain period, a week after that, the original election day, all these ministers, all these people within the Liberal Party will get full pensions, whether they get reelected or not. While people are struggling to make a living. After nearly 30 years in office, Vandal said it was time to move to his next stage of my life, and said serving as cabinet minister was a tremendous privilege. He also indicated he was working with Prime Minister's office to ensure an orderly transition of my cabinet position. So it seems like he's just moving to the next thing. Carla Qualtrough. On the same day of Vandal's announcement, Sports Minister Carla Qualtrough also released a statement on social media saying that she, too, planned to step aside when the next election was called. Qualtrough offered few details except to say that it was her time to move on. She also thanked her family and the Prime Minister. She had previously served as Minister of Public Services and Procurement and Minister of Employment, Workforce Development, and Disability Inclusion. Jeez, that's a hefty resume right there. Philomena Tassi. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Philomena Tassi, the minister responsible for the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario, won't run the next election. She had previously stepped back from more demanding portfolio of public services and procurement, which she held from October 2021 until August of 2022, so she could stay closer to her Hamilton home after her husband suffered 2 strokes. Tassi has also served as the Minister of Seniors and Minister of Labor. Marie-Claude Bibeau, the National Revenue Minister, also plans to step aside when the next election is called. Bibeau, who was Agriculture and Agri-Food Minister from 2019 to 2023, is planning to run for the mayor of Sherbrooke, Quebec next fall. Now Bibeau, Tassi, Qualtrough, and Vandal remain in his cabinet. So, all these people, all these members, including the ones that Justin Trudeau forced out with his dramatics, with his scandals, with his corruption, with his just ego-fragile persona. That was what happened with the latest lady, that Justin Trudeau felt like it was an attack on his ego when she questioned him. All these people are jumping the ship. All these people know that Justin Trudeau is not going to last. They know that this Liberal Party is on fire. It's burning to ashes, and they better get out quick before they become burnt next. So all these people now are coming forward, putting in their resignation, saying, I'm not going to get reelected. I'm stepping back. I don't want to be part of this. I don't want to be held responsible. Just like Chrystia Freeland, I don't want to be held in contempt with this. Justin Trudeau, you're on your own. But luckily, he has his LeBlanc guy. He has one guy on the side that will, kiss up to anything. Here's another one. Pablo Rodriguez. Rodriguez stepped down as transport minister and quit the Liberal caucus on September 19th of this year when he announced his intention to run for the Quebec Liberal leadership. He is sitting as an independent MP until the provincial leadership race begins in January. Rodriguez was swiftly replaced. Treasury Board Presidential Anita Anand added transport minister to her title the same day, while Public Services and Procurement Minister Genevieve Duclos became the government's new Quebec lieutenant. Seamus O'Regan, who I think, wasn't he the guy that was on Morning News? He was on some morning show. I've heard that name before. Seamus O'Regan. On July 18th, O'Regan announced that he was leaving his post as labor minister and did not plan to run the next election. Elected in 2015, the Newfoundland MP joined cabinet in 2017 as Veteran Affairs Minister, the first of 5 different portfolios he held. He was also for a time Minister of Indigenous Services, Natural Resources, and Seniors. The statement he released to announce his resignation said his family comes first and he needed to be a better husband, son, uncle, and friend. The government's front bench was quickly shuffled to move Stephen McKinnon into the Labour file. And now, because all these cabinet ministers are stepping away, they don't want to deal with Justin Trudeau. Justin Trudeau who knows he's going to get questioned this, even with the amount of money that he's given to the media, all the handouts, all the financial ties that he has towards the CBC and CTV and Global and City TV. They're going to be asking about this. They're going to be asking about Chrystia Freeland stepping down, because that's a big name. That's a huge name that's leaving his cabinet. So now Justin Trudeau comes forward to say he's canceling all of his traditional year-end interviews for 2024. All the interviews. All the interviews. Where every single prime minister, every single person in leadership would usually go on TV. It's usually soft-spoken. They usually try to give some sort of optimistic message for the incoming year. Hey, we're going to do better on this. We're going to focus on this. We had a good year with that. Blah, 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 blah. He's not going to have any of it. Because he knows he's screwed up. He knows he is absolutely done. Because even your own party can't even stand you. Your own party is getting away. Your own party is trying to flee the coop as fast as possible. And no one's willing to back you. No one's willing to really back you at this point, because you've not only decimated against Canadians, ordinary Canadians of all walks of life, whether you voted for this guy or not only did you do that, you went after your own party. You put your own party down for your own selfish behavior, for your antics, for your ego fragile persona. This is a trust fund kid whose rise to fame was the fact that he is the son of a former prime minister, Pierre Elliott Trudeau. And there's been scandal after scandal after scandal, history after history of this guy popping up, and people are just sick with it. Not to mention all the antics he did during the pandemic, the countless censorship bills that he's piling on before Pierre Poilievre or somebody else takes his position as prime minister, whenever the next election will be, and how he's been just dealing out the destruction of this country. So he's no longer doing these year-end interviews that's supposed to be kind of, mild optimistic, because he knows that conversation is going to be kept up. Here he is, though, doing this press conference, trying to gain what little supporters he has left. He's going to this room to get what little crowd he can get to field up the optimism. And even they are starting to have their doubts. Listen to this.
Thank you all. Thank you all for being here tonight. It has been an eventful couple of days. It hasn't been easy, and that's why I'm so happy to see you guys. It's hard not to feel happy when we're like this, among Liberals, among family, because that's what we really are, a big family. Now,
Yeah, it's like family, sometimes you argue, sometimes you ask for certain things that you can't get, sometimes you blackmail each other, sometimes you put each other down, sometimes you make violent, assaulting threats to people, It's like family, it's the holidays, everybody yells at each other, everybody decides to quit and bug out and cut the finances of somebody else. That's just, just the family get together, Oh my God.
like most families, sometimes we have fights around the holidays. But of course, like most families, we find our way through it.
So, right there, even people within his own base, the people that still support this guy, they're having doubts. You heard how long that pause was. That was the please clap moment. Please, I'm here. I want you to like me. Please, we're like family. Please, like me. I gave you some crumbs during the holidays. That's what this GST malfunction break is. Please, like me. And you can hear the long pause before someone decided to give them, out of pity, an applause. Let's hear that again. Let's hear that again.
Now, like most families, sometimes we have fights around the holidays. But of course, like most families, we find our way through it. You know, I love this country. I deeply love this party. I love you guys. And love is what families are all about.
It's about the love. It's about the sympathy. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. That's why I want to take your rights away. I love you guys so much. I just want to take control of your finances to make sure you're spending your money accordingly. I love you guys so much that I don't want you to have the choice because I care what experimental medical procedures you get. I care so much that I'm willing to take taxpayer dollars and go on vacation because you guys can't. I love you so much. That's what real families do, right? The breadwinner takes all the money, tells everybody else to go F off, and then go jet setting to some sort of sunny destination. Which I know that's a joke, but actually I just saw just recently that it looks like Justin Trudeau is about to take his Christmas vacation. So that's why I can't do the interviews now. Oh, I just happened to jet set to some sunny getaway. You can't reach me. I mean, yeah, we could do Skype or Zoom, but I'm somewhere else, so I can't be held responsible for my actions. Hold on. So, this is what's really happening. And this is what I want people to remember when it comes to the election, because I hear so many people talking about Pierre Poilievre being the savior towards Justin Trudeau. And yes, it looks like he's a savior, considering the fact that Trudeau set the bar so damn low that myself could look like a savior just for going over there and making a speech. But this is what's really happening. The sooner Canadians wake up to realize that it is not just the Conservatives versus the Liberals versus the NDP, but it's we the people versus the globalists. We might actually stand a chance for taking our country and our freedom back. Because let's not forget where Justin Trudeau came from, how he got his foot into politics, how he was able to maintain himself to be being elected the prime minister back in 2015, almost 10 years ago now. How he was able to maintain that function, even with all the history that we know about Trudeau. The history, the scandals before then, and now the scandals of him being prime minister. How he's able to maintain that is because our government, our parliamentary system, is so deeply corrupted. That doesn't matter if we have Pierre Poilievre or Justin Trudeau or Jagmeet Singh or Bloc Québécois or the Green Party or whoever's in charge. Even if it was Maxime Bernier. It's so massively corrupted because the infiltrators are people outside this country that have put their bootstraps in control of our government, in control of our nation. People like the WEF, who Klaus Schwab stated that he personally penetrated Trudeau's cabinet, meaning he handpicked the people to lead this country into this disaster. That he is purposely destroying the nation of Canada intentionally for this globalist regime. This is all intentional. And now people have caught on to it. People are waking up to this. They might think that Pierre Poilievre will be a better resemblance of this nation. I hope so. We hope for that. But just keep this in mind. Keep this in the back of your mind that electing Pierre Poilievre doesn't mean the fight's over. Doesn't mean we're done. That we could just take a break and take a deep breath and then go on our ways. Because what's happening now is going to continue on, no matter how many leaders we go through, until we as people stand against this. That is what the Freedom Convoy kind of started. It was like the beta version of what we should be doing right now. And primarily so, before this election, before shit really hits the fan. And we really need to retaliate. We need real people to gather on the streets, unite us all together, and fight the good fight. Get our country back. Get Canada to a proper nation. Be the true north, strong and free. That's not just a quote. That's not just a design I have on my Spreadshirt account, which go free, check it out. But it's an actual statement, meaning that we need to be resilient against these global tyrants.